I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
People love him and respect him. Roger Stone.
Now, get in the zone. It's the Stone Zone. Here's Roger Stone.
Well, apologies, everybody. It's not Roger Stone, but it is a huge admirer and friend of Roger Stone. And we're going to talk about Roger Stone for a little bit. My name is Greg Kelly. I work with him here at 77 WABC. You may have seen me on television. I put out videos all the time. I had an interview with President Trump this week. And anyway, it's thrilling to know Roger Stone. I first read about Roger, I believe I was in college. There was a big story about him in GQ magazine about, this political, brilliant operative who was a protege of Richard Nixon's, who was the best dressed man in the world. And it was GQ, and I was fascinated with this guy, fascinated. And, it talked about how political he was in high school. And I remember the writer said, well, you must not have been very popular if you were campaigning for Richard Nixon every weekend. He said, I was president of my senior class. So he had that high school wired. Roger Stone, big tattoo of Nixon on the back. The interesting wardrobe, it's spectacular, and that hair and all of it. All of it he's iconic. The guy is iconic. And, went to work for Richard Nixon. I think he just wrote a letter to the campaign and said, I like politics. Can I come on by? And they let him come on by. Back then, the world was a little bit more open. And if you had the guts, if you had the chutzpah to send a letter, you just might get in the door. And he did. And let's see. Then he went into, I guess, the world of private consulting and of course, the Reagan administration. What was the name of that firm? Manafort, Stone, and somebody or other, or Stone Manafort. Just a legendary political operative who spotted probably truly, he was the first political pro, I think it might be safe to say, who saw the immense political promise in Donald Trump. Just knew this was a guy who could go all the way. He engineered some of his earlier flirtations, I think we could call it, with the presidency, going all the way back to 1988. Did you know his name was floated as a couple of times for vice president? George H.W. Bush. The thought was you could do a lot better with Trump than with Quayle, and they were probably right about that. And then, of course, I think it was a perennial kind of possibility, and it wasn't something just a vanity project. I think each time he was weighing his options, right? Can I really pull it off this time? Can I pull it off? Because he was so steadfast in his critique of America. Loves America. America's great, but too often it was losing its way. We were getting ripped off, and Roger Stone was there in the early stages, and of course to this day. Roger, as you may know, is a devout Christian, and I don't think he always was. And it's amazing to hear him talk about his rebirth. I don't say I'm devout. I don't know. I don't even know if he says devout. So let's word the devout doesn't mean anything. Devout sounds boastful. He is a Christian, and I am a Christian. And I wasn't. Well, I guess I always was. I was baptized, right? But I had my flirtations with, when I was in middle school, junior high school, we called it. I went through an atheism phase and all that stuff, but came to a place. Thank God for where I am right now, believing in God and believing that Jesus is His Son, and they want the best for me. He wants me to do the right thing. He wants certain things from me. He wants certain things from you. And from time to time, there will be adversity in our lives. We will be disciplined. And now as a father, I understand that comes from love. That's all about love. You only discipline those you love. So it's been a remarkable spiritual journey and a remarkable friendship with Roger Stone. And his man is in the White House. Our man is in the White House, President Trump. I spent about an hour with him all together Tuesday of this week. An extraordinary experience, for obvious reasons and not so obvious reasons. Going to the White House, being with the president, interviewing the president, and then going to the Oval Office. I mean, that is kind of mind-blowing to do that with any president, but particularly President Trump, right? I mean, there's never going to be a guy like him again, probably ever. He is incredibly unique, incredibly skilled and ready for this moment. I don't think anybody has been prepared, and now he is so comfortable in the job. And he's great at it, in my opinion. And I think objectively that case can be made. It's still early. We got some, the April 2nd thing is coming up. But I want to tell you what happened during the interview, or what didn't happen during the interview. First of all, it was about a 35-minute conversation. Very pleased that I brought up Ashley Babbitt, and I'll play some of the clips in a few moments or right after the break. But I noticed after an hour with him that his concentration on me, on the people in the room, right? On people. We finished, I think we were in the Roosevelt Room. I think that's what it's called. It's like a little library across from the Oval Office. And then, okay, you want to come into the Oval? Let's go, Greg. Have you ever been in there before? And I had to tell him, no, I had never been to the Oval Office. I've been to the White House a million times, but I actually never set foot into the Oval Office. And we walk in together, the camera is rolling, and it was a very, wow, I'm being escorted and kind of given a tour. Not by some, it's not after hours and some Secret Service friend of my father's is getting me into the White House. No, which has happened, by the way. I'm going with the President of the United States into the Oval Office. And he asked me a few questions. He asked me a lot of questions and about New York, about my job, about life. And he showed me around. And, the thing that I didn't realize at the time, but I realize it now, it was so different talking to him, and not, of course, because he's the president, all those things. Forget that stuff for a second. Afterwards, I'm like, what was so different about that experience? There was something different. I can't put my finger on it. Why? And then I finally realized he wasn't on his phone. He had no phone. And he was totally concentrated for an hour, right, on people. I was passing a red light today. Every guy at the red light had their phone out, right? I got my phone right in front of me. We're all addicted to this stupid thing, and we are more and more oblivious to other people. People talk about, well, where does he get his energy from? Well, he's got all that energy, and it is supernatural. Whatever he's got going on, it is amazing. But I identified a source of his energy, and maybe it's not, well, no, he's got a lot of energy, but maybe we are losing ours. We're losing our energy. And what I mean by that is, and this goes back to some documentary I heard and a snippet of an article, but basically our brains are not meant to be stimulated the way they're being stimulated right now. All right? They are stimulated from the moment we wake up by digital happenings, right? Digital things on our phone. We're not supposed to get news all day long. We're not supposed to listen to music all day long. We're not supposed to get pings and checks and tweets, and we're just not supposed to. Our brain was not designed that way. I think our brain was designed, who's to say? Darwinian, though. It's going to take a long time to adapt, and brains adapt. I think ideally we're farmers, right? We get up early. We go to sleep early. We work during the day. We're designed a certain way. The brain is not meant to be firing socially at 10:30 at night. It was so interesting to be with somebody who wasn't looking at their phone. And I think that was a very kind of unique component of President Trump, even though he tweets and he truths and he's totally informed. He doesn't get it from his phone. You know where he gets it from? People print up things for him. He watches TiVo. So when he watches the news, he can watch a lot of news in not much time, skip the commercials, skip the boring parts, stick to the parts he wants. It was a revelation. It was really something special. And I'm still processing the whole meeting, actually. And, one other thing about this, and then I'll play the clips after the break, but he is everything you know. He's funny, he's interesting, he's smart, he's all... Actually, this is more about me. I'm very calm in the moment. I just feel totally comfortable talking to President Trump. I'm not nervous when he's in the room. I'm not nervous around him. Sometimes, and I hate to say this, I forgot to call him Mr. President. And now nobody who saw that interview would think it was disrespectful, all right? It was I'm very proud of it, right? And that was the thing. There've been a couple of interviewers who have been kind of like jerky with him lately. I'm not going to name names, but all right, or guys who talked a little bit too much. Okay? There've been a lot of those lately. I didn't. I had questions. I was genuinely curious in the answers. But here's the thing about President Trump. He's bigger than the presidency, right? When I saw him at the Bedminster Golf Club during the first term, he walks in the room, and you kind of forget he's president. It's Donald Trump who's walking toward you. Do you know what I mean? And maybe you don't. Maybe that doesn't make sense. But there's something very special here, and I continue to process it. We made a lot of news in that interview with Ashley Babbitt. Some other things to cover that just happened, actually, that you may want to know about. I don't know. Roger, I wish you could. Roger has no voice right now. That's what he's feeling. He doesn't have his voice. I hope he's enjoying one of those Nixon martinis, Silver Bullet or something like that. He is. Roger drinks martinis in a special way, a special formula given to him by Richard Nixon, and Richard Nixon learned that from Winston Churchill. Isn't that neat? You're drinking a Winston Churchill martini. I wish I could still drink. How long has it been since my last drink? It's been 8 years. 8 long years. No, actually, they've been the greatest years of my life, quite frankly. Everything is better when you're sober. Everything. Although, sipping a martini with Roger Stone, maybe I'll have a mocktail. All right? Maybe I'll have one of those. This is not my interview, but President Trump was just on Air Force One, right? And, anytime, any place with this guy, he will speak anytime, any place. And Biden did this, I think, once his entire presidency. Go back to talk to the reporters, and they all regretted it. His staff, probably Biden himself, if he could really have that much introspection, I don't know. But here is Trump. Let's start with that little part. At one point, he's like, hey, it's getting bumpy. We all have to sit down, I think. Give me Air Force One Trump short.
We're landing right now.
Mr. President, do you plan to take Greenland by force?
Does today's inflation report impact?
We're landing right now. I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
We don't want to see you get hurt.
Have a good time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Good luck. Sit down.
Could you hear there was a lot of engine noise, a lot of stuff going on. We're landing right now. Everybody's got to take a seat. Not to brag here, but I've been on Air Force One a lot, and it's actually no big deal. It really isn't that big a deal. And we are in desperate need, this country, of a new airplane. The back where the reporters sit, it's kind of like business class on a plane. The cool thing about it is, it's cool being on Air Force One, I'm not saying, but it's like a regular plane. You don't get to walk all over the plane when you're a reporter. You got to stay in the back unless he invites you up to the front. And the back is like business class. A couple of cool things. There's a lot of food, a lot of special M&Ms and candy in special presidential boxes. And at least when I was there for 2 years during the Bush administration as a correspondent for Fox News, you didn't have to buckle up. They were very lax about the rules. You didn't have to necessarily buckle up. You didn't have to sit when you were taking off. You can kind of do your own thing. You just couldn't go to the front of the plane. They had a Secret Service agent kind of dividing the thing. But when the president was off the plane, you could actually go up there. And I went up there, and this is, 2007? Yeah, it's a long time ago. But even then, it was like decor from the early 90s. There was something, and it was a little bit... It was clean. I'm not saying it wasn't clean, but it was worn, right? Worn and actually weirdly small in an odd way. And when you go outside and you look at the plane, we don't have 747s like this flying anymore. It is a 747, I think, 100 or 200 series. And this has got to be one of the only 747s flying of that model. And to me, it's an old plane. It is just an old plane, and it desperately needs not even a refurbishment. It needs to be replaced, and that's going to happen. Another thing in the Oval Office, he's got that great big Air Force One model, the new one with the new paint job. That's coming. It's going to have it's the latest and greatest 747, which the one with the hump, but this hump goes all the way back almost to the tail. It's like a double-decker plane. Very, very cool. All right, I have to take a very quick break, and the Democrats are straightening us out about what kind of refrigerator. We remember the gas stove? Well, now it's the refrigerator they want to rearrange, and they have a big problem with the door. What could be wrong with the door? What would a career politician know about my refrigerator? Be right back.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
Not just stepping stone.
The Stone Zone.
Not just stepping stone.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
They went after a guy named Roger Stone who's sitting in the office. And I'll say this in front of Roger, he's no baby. And right now he's cleaner than anybody in this place. No, they treated him very unfairly.
Now, get him his own. It's the Stone Zone. Here's Roger Stone.
That's right, Roger. We love you. You got a pardon now. And it gets you out of all those sticky jams you were in. And let's face it, Roger's been in some very sticky jams. Oh, whew. All right. This is Greg Kelly in for Roger Stone, a huge friend and admirer of the political legend Roger Stone and President Trump, for that matter. Both amazing individuals. And I talked earlier about how Donald Trump helped make President Trump, right? And has been basically working on it since the 1980s, Roger Stone. Gosh, it's just a legend in his own right. But I sat down with the boss, President Trump, on, when was it, Tuesday? The day before yesterday? And I'm very proud of this. And I got a lot of, well, not that I was looking for pats on the back or anything like that, but a lot of people said, wow, you actually went there on Ashley Babbitt. And I said, yeah, Ashley Babbitt was murdered. We all saw it on TV. And I know President Trump is very interested in that case. He was talking about it, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. I heard him say her name in the Oval Office. So it's a big deal. So let's see here. GK6, if you don't mind.
No one has spoken as boldly and with as much truth as you about Ashley Babbitt. It was a bad shooting. My father can tell you that. Anybody.
It's a terrible thing. I'm a big fan of Ashley Babbitt, okay? And Ashley Babbitt was a really good person, and I think it's a disgrace. I'm going to look into that. I did not know that.
All right, we'll be right back with the Stone Zone.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
Not just stepping stone.
The Stone Zone.
Not just stepping stone.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
They went after a guy named Roger Stone who's sitting in the office. And I'll say this in front of Roger, he's no baby. And right now he's cleaner than anybody in this place. No, they treated him very unfairly.
Now, get him his own. It's the Stone Zone. Here's Roger Stone.
Hey, Roger's got some kick-ass music, kick-ass clothes, kick-ass life. He lives very well. You know, but Roger is very, very distinctive. Wherever he goes, like, there's Roger Stone. So that can be great, you know. I love it when people come up to me. I actually do. I'm always pleasantly surprised. I don't expect it, but when it happens, it's nice. You know, Roger gets it a lot, right? A lot more than any of us, really. And in part because the guy's unmistakable. And he's a legend. So you got to be careful, actually, no matter where you are. You never know. You never know what the hell's going to happen. So I hope he's packing. I hope he's packing. At least a burner, something along those lines, right? You gotta be careful. All right, Roger's voice is not so hot right now, so he'll be back soon. I want to tell you guys. Do you know about the Sarah McBride fraud? Sarah McBride, the she's a he, yeah, transgender person. Also known as a man, right? This is a man. You know what? I know. A couple of years ago, I might have been a little bit more genteel about the whole thing. And, oh, you identify as this? That's great. Okay. But not after you went after our kids, all right? Once you started pushing this stuff on the kids, and then it went from, like, gender dysphoria, potentially, I say potentially, legitimate psychological issue to a freaking fetish and a depravity, and you're messing with the kids, all right? That's the insanity. There are basically two transgender people in the country that I like. There's a person named Christine up in Connecticut, all right? And I call her, whatever. I know people get angry at that. They do, actually. But let me tell you about Christine. Happens to be transgender, happens to hate the radical LGBTQ, the radical agenda of the LGBTQ radical agenda, right? I mean, back when it was LGB, it was like it was sane. It wasn't crazy. And then the LGBTQIA, it went nuts. And oh, by the way, the LGB, they don't really like the T's, and who the hell knows what the Q is, the queers, the questioning. Sometimes it's queer, sometimes it's questioning. One time I called it, well, I'll call it right now, LGBT queer, and everybody went upset. I have lots of gay friends. Well, I can't say I have lots of gay friends. I have 2 gay friends. And you know what we don't talk about? Being gay. All right? We just don't talk about that. We don't talk about that, his sexuality. Is there? Yeah, I don't know any. I wish I knew some lesbians, to be honest. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that, but some of you know what I mean. All right, where was I? Oh, yeah, Sarah McBride. Is a member of Congress for one reason, because on the LGBT queer scale, this individual is T, transgender, and I think you got to bring more to the table than your perversion. To be honest, I think you got to bring more to the. Oh, the other one I like is Caitlyn Jenner. Because I tell you what, that's like Caitlyn's own thing. Okay. I'm going to use Bruce Jenner achieved amazing things. Greatest athlete in the world. One of the greatest pilots in America, by the way. People don't understand. He can fly helicopters, planes, seaplanes, you name it, he can fly it. Me too, by the way, except the seaplane. But very smart person, entrepreneurial, and made this move. And doesn't talk about it, believe it or not. Doesn't think certainly does not believe it should be on kids. Doesn't think that men should be playing in women's sports. Has been an outspoken advocate for sanity when it comes to that stuff. No men, biological men in women's sports, because women and girls are at risk. It's not anyway. All right. So, but I don't like Sarah McBride, transgender individual, because this is all Sarah, he has got going for him. The transgender crap. 2016, Sarah McBride comes out and makes a big speech at the 2016 Democrat convention. And this is what I mean about being too hung up on your sex organs or lack thereof. I have no idea what's going on with Sarah at this point. Would you hit the tape, please, of the 2016 Democrat convention, wherever the hell that was?
It's about time. Sarah, it is an honor to make history with you.
Stop!
Because we are...
Stop! Just so you know, this is Patrick Maloney, who was such a jerky congressman, Democrat from upstate New York, who also happened to be gay and made a particularly big deal about it. You know who's... I thought of another gay friend, Rick Grinnell. All right. He's the special envoy for President Trump, close friend of President Trump, the first gay, Director of National Intelligence, first gay cabinet member, before Pete Buttigieg. And the last thing you're going to talk about with Pete is being gay. I mean, Rick. All right. International affairs, Germany. He was the ambassador there. Trump. He's the They're great friends, money, finance, sports, you name it. All right, but Maloney here. All right, keep going.
Stronger together.
Hillary's losing slogan. Shut up!
Thank you so much, Congressman. My name is Sarah McBride, and I am a proud transgender American.
Shut up for a second. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You hear what they clapping for? What I was just... What? That's it? I'm Greg Kelly, and I am a heterosexual male. Will you shut up? What kind of reaction is that going to get? Oh, they're going bananas for that. Something that need not be said, but not only said, celebrated and pushed, right? On children. Keep going. Listen to these idiots.
4 years ago, I came out as transgender while serving as student body president in college. At the time, I was scared. I worried that my dreams and my identity were mutually exclusive. Since then, though, I've seen that change is possible. I witnessed history interning at the White House and helping my home state of Delaware pass protections for transgender people.
All right, stop for a second, right? Okay. All right. And they try to tell me that, oh, no, it's not about the LGBTQ. She has really interesting positions and policy proposals that affect everyday Americans. Now, this is what it's all about. Gets to the White House and starts interning at the White House, and you're going to work on that stuff? By the way, a lot of the numbers don't work out, the years. Like, and there's some... she's fibbing in my book, but keep going.
Today, I see this change in the work of the LGBT caucus and in my own job at the Human Rights Campaign.
Oh, that place is crazy. That place is so radical. Keep going. That's the thing. The Human Rights sounds great.
Despite our progress, so much work remains.
Yeah, you got to get the kids.
Will we be a nation where there's only one way to love, only one way to look, and only one way to live? Or will we be a nation where everyone has the freedom to live openly and equally?
Yeah,
a nation
sure.
That's stronger together.
Stronger together. So what they're getting at, we didn't know this at the time, they're getting at the children, all right? They're getting at the children. Oh, there's not one way to love. You can love animals. You can love your, is incest okay? This is the stuff. This is where it goes. It sounds, oh, yeah, you got to love, right? We don't have one way. What a boring place to live. America's boring. America, you just, oh, it's all sick. So anyway, that's what she's talking about, or it, at the 2016 convention. All about public service, right? No, it's about engaging in your fetish and your perversion. That's what it sounds like to me. And using that to get to the Congress. And now this poor deranged soul is in Congress, and you can't. No matter how much he wants to, you can't talk about LGBTQ all day long, right? You got to find some issue. And I noticed the other day he was talking about helping the middle class, right? Helping the middle class and driving prices down. Actually, he's going to talk about it right here in the middle of telling us what kind of refrigerator door we're supposed to have. There is, no kidding, a Refrigeration Freedom Act that was passed by Democrats, and Republicans are working to repeal it. Okay? And this monstrosity is trying to protect the law. He calls it a rule. It's actually a law. All right. Go ahead, please. Opens a refrigerator door.
Oh,
there's a camera. There's a camera. There's a camera in the refrigerator. All right? And his ugly face opens. There's a camera in the stupid refrigerator, because you're in Congress and you got to be cool on Instagram, right? You got to be cool and creative. What about just doing the gosh darn work? What about just doing the work? One of the reasons why we were hit on 9/11, if you look it up in the 9/11 report, because Congress was too interested in sensational, stupid, headline attention grabbing stuff. instead of the drudgery of oversight. Okay, there's important stuff going on in the world. All right, so take it from the top, this little gimmicky thing with the refrigerator. And this is all about new refrigerator doors. Get this, with windows. Your refrigerator needs to have a window. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. You're probably wondering why you're in my Washington, D.C. office refrigerator. Well, let me tell you. The absurdity never ends in a Republican-controlled House of Representatives. Later today, I'll be on my way to the floor of the House of Representatives to vote against repealing an energy efficiency rule. Because the Republicans in Congress, instead of prioritizing lowering costs for working people, instead of prioritizing lowering costs for small businesses, they want to repeal a rule that actually lowers costs for small businesses by guaranteeing that their commercial refrigerators and walk-in refrigerators are more energy efficient. The House of Representatives is spending time trying to save solid refrigerator doors. They don't want windows in the doors because, God forbid, you can see inside a refrigerator before you enter it if it's a walk-in refrigerator. What the f*** are we doing here?
Stop. Thank you. You stopped it. Windows in the refrigerators. Windows in the refrigerators. This person is a trans freak who only thinks about trans stuff. You heard the big speech. What did they hate? What do they? What? Our house, your small business, your refrigerator? Do you think our founding fathers had any conception? Well, granted, they didn't know what a refrigerator was. Okay, but let's go back. Like, when was a refrigerator invented? 150 years ago? 125 years ago? That Congress would be concerned about what the door looks like. And career politicians and other rejects, what's her name, Maxine Waters and the rest, are going to try to dictate. And by the way, it ain't going to pass, right? The minority's got to figure out, like, more productive things to do when they're in the minority, when they're not going to win. I guess the era of wooing people over to the other side, that's gone. Happens occasionally. But you see what I mean? You get it? And then these career politicians know nothing about life. And they're going to tell you what kind of refrigerator you can have. Here's this individual, this person, this man, quite frankly, in a classroom telling women and girls how to own your sexuality. All right? This should be good. Go ahead.
What can other women do to promote inclusivity for trans women?
Well, I think a couple different things. I think Own It just demonstrated one of those things, which is to very clearly and consciously make the statement through inclusion that transgender women are women, transgender men are men, and that we should all be respected in our identities. I think the second is understanding that sexism, misogyny, homophobia, and transphobia are inextricably linked. They are all based on one perception at birth, the sex we are assigned, and the belief.
Stop for a second. Can I come out as a transphobic person? I think I am, to be honest. I'm a little bit afraid of trans people, and I'll tell you why. With the exception of Caitlyn Jenner and Christine. And I'll tell you why. Partially, it's they all almost have a chip on their shoulder, and they're looking to be offended, right? Granted, I'm often an offensive person, okay? But it is America, and that is a little bit out there. And God created man and woman, right? And, by the way, I talked about Christianity, my Christianity, and I did straighten out a hell of a lot of things. I don't drink anymore. I don't a lot of things anymore. But I'm tempted. I'm not perfect. You name it. I've probably done it. Well, no, that's a little bit too, I'm being a little bit too hard on myself. I've never killed anybody. I've never stolen. I've never engaged in fraud. No, I did steal a flashlight once, come to think of it. And I was not exactly, 6 years old when I stole the flashlight. Yeah, I did that one too, I guess. All right. Well, I never killed anybody. I injured somebody. You get what I'm saying, all right? I'm not trying to be a holy roller or, I'm not better than anybody. I'm not worse than anybody. But if God can do for me what he's done for you. And you know what? In a weird way, I will tell you this also. I don't like this Who are we talking about here? Sarah McBride. I don't like Sarah McBride, but on some level, I love Sarah McBride. I really love every person. Every person created by God. I think Sarah McBride's made some really bad decisions to cover up or to treat something inside that can't be treated the way Sarah is trying to treat it. I don't think that's, but I think anybody can be saved. I think I genuinely, and if they needed advice, I would give my best advice. I would try to be courteous. Face to face, yeah. But maybe not so much on the courtesy. But I hope that makes sense. Is that a contradiction? Be right back.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
Not just stepping stone.
The Stone Zone.
Not just stepping stone.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone.
They went after a guy named Roger Stone who's sitting in the office. And I'll say this in front of Roger, he's no baby. And right now he's cleaner than anybody in this place. No, they treated him very unfairly.
Now, get him his own. It's the Stone Zone. Here's Roger Stone.
Because right now we're talking about Sarah McBride and raising all kinds of interesting issues in my head and clarifying things for me. The red lines, right, about children. You see, right now in America, actually in New York City, I should say, and a lot of other cities, but I know it's happening in New York, there's something called Drag Time Story Hour for kids. So drag queens come into school. And what are drag queens? Men who like to dress up in women's clothes. And who knows what the hell else they're into. These guys come into school in their girls' clothes and they read to children. Letitia James, the state attorney general, went to an event with drag queens and read to children. Not that long ago, that could get you arrested. That could genuinely get you arrested. And if the parents were involved, they would be arrested too. Now we're in a situation where complaining about such a program, complaining about it, is considered a hate crime. Not by the left, not by, jerks I'll never meet on Twitter, but by public officials. By Congressman Jerry Nadler, by the school's chancellor. If you come out against a trans agenda in New York, you will be accused of a hate crime. You can judge me for all the things that I've done, the bad things I've done. If you want to do that, if you want to focus on that, you can judge me on the mistake I made 10 seconds ago. You can judge, right? Judge. But don't you dare judge me on the things I can't control. I can't control being white. I can't control being a man. I can't control those things. I don't take pride in those things because I didn't pick them, but I'm not ashamed of it either. And there was a real effort in this country to make people ashamed of who they are. And whoever you are, black, white, red, brown, whatever, nobody should be ashamed of the things that they are and they can't control. I think going back to the Sarah McBride thing, that's artificial. All right, I do. We had a 5,000% increase in people seeking transgender over the past 6 years. You think that happened naturally, or did a corrupt and sick society encourage it? Yeah? All right. Man, Friday night, huh? Lately, every day feels like Friday night. I love it. I love it. It's an exciting time in America. And I'm actually reorganizing my brain in a way to make it seem like every night is Friday night. I've been partially successful. Sunday night used to be the most dreadful night of my life, right? Oh, gosh, Sunday. The anxiety about the week to come. I am full of excitement and love and gratitude. And I thank God for that. And I thank you for joining me, okay? Get better soon, Roger Stone. This has been the Stone Zone with a substitute host by the name of Greg Kelly. Please check out that presidential interview I did. It's all over the internet if you want to with President Trump. And it's been a pleasure. All right. My best to you. Bye-bye.
Greg Kelly here with an urgent retirement warning. President Trump's return is set to usher in a new golden age, but growing trade tensions and China's ruthless attack on the dollar have rattled the markets. That's why Warren Buffett just dumped $133 billion in stocks. And so too have Jeff Bezos, Larry Page, and even Jamie Dimon, CEO of the world's largest bank. That's why thousands of informed IRA and 401k savers are now shielding their savings with gold. And the experts at Colonial Metals Group are the only folks I trust to help you to do the exact same thing, especially now after Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki warned of a coming market crash. So visit freegoldguide.com/Kelly or call 800-655-5186. You'll get a free gold guide on how to bulletproof your wealth with gold tax-free. Plus, see if you qualify for a free home safe and as much as $7,500 in free silver. Once again, that's freegoldguide.com/Kelly.